When an artist creates a card, who has the right to redefine their work? In this breakdown, we are going to examine the impact of editorial changes on the original artistic vision. It's important to state, this is not a criticism of Konami. Our goal is to understand how the creative expression of the original illustrators was constrained and altered by policy. The official reason for many changes is audience protection. However, data shows the Yu-Gi-Oh! Player base is primarily adult, with an average age between 20 and 30. Every modification we show represents a loss of the original aesthetic. We will examine how commercial oversight influenced the integrity and details of these artworks. I'm Silence, your host for today's video, and we will expose the 10 most famous cards to understand the full extent of these alterations. Let's start with the most significant example, Dark Magician Girl. This iconic female monster is a key case study, unique because its multiple artworks were systematically modified over time by editorial policy. Let's focus on the original artwork. The TCG version introduced substantial physical changes. Specifically, the TCG version added covering to the neckline and noticeably reduced the bust proportions. This was a direct alteration to the character's physique chosen by the original artist. This systematic modification continued across later versions. The original artist's intent to feature a character with fuller, defined proportions was repeatedly overruled by the TCG policy across multiple prints. Every new artwork was standardized to reduce the character's intended physique. Ultimately, these sustained alterations compromised the integrity of the original design, showing a policy that aimed to eliminate any potential visual risk. Moving from proportional changes, our second example demonstrates a policy against even the suggestion of risk. Etoile Cyber. The censorship applied to Etoile Cyber is particularly interesting because it targets both proportions and visual ambiguity. In the original OCG design, the bust was fuller and the character's outfit was rendered in a pale, flesh-like color. The editorial team determined that this combination of fuller proportions and the ambiguous color could be easily mistaken for exposed skin or a lack of covering. The solution was a dual modification: a reduction of the character's intended physique and a complete color correction. The TCG version was forcefully recolored to a bright, unmistakable red. This aggressive alteration sacrificed the artist's original color palette to remove any hint of implied lack of covering. This case proves that even unintentional color choices and core physique were subjected to standardization. This strict approach shows how far the policy went to sanitize every visual detail. From singular figures, we now move to a pair. Our third example, Gemini Elf, shines a spotlight entirely on aesthetic changes to the character's clothing and physical details. When compared side by side, the contrast between the original OCG artwork and the TCG modification is striking. The censorship here was surgical, targeting the character model with precision. Specifically, the alteration focused on two main areas of the blonde elf: the neckline and the bust proportions. The original artwork featured a much deeper, wider, plunging neckline, which clearly emphasized the fullness and the definition of the character's bust. The TCG version addressed this by applying a blanket modification. They significantly raised the neckline of the dress, directly reducing the amount of exposed skin. As a direct result of this modification, the visual prominence and intended volume of the bust were also noticeably attenuated. This example is a classic demonstration of how editorial policy directly intervenes in the character's design to remove elements deemed too explicit, even when those elements are solely defined by the artist's choice of clothing and physique. Moving to slot number 4, we examine Allure Queen LV7. This particular card demonstrates censorship targeting the bare minimum of clothing. In the original OCG artwork, the character's dress featured a significant side split, revealing the majority of her upper leg and thigh. The TCG editorial team addressed this by directly modifying the garment. They digitally extended the dress fabric to cover the exposed leg. This modification is straightforward, highlighting a policy that enforces modesty by covering any exposed skin, showing that even a minimal reveal in clothing choice was unacceptable. For slot number 5, and since breasts are apparently so dangerous, let's talk about Cyber Angel Idaten. This card features one of the most significant overalls, targeting both skin exposure and physique simultaneously. In the original OCG artwork, extensive areas of the character's body were rendered as bare skin, including her chest and tights. This design showcased fuller, more defined proportions, consistent with the artist's original vision. The TCG policy addressed this with a dual-pronged approach. Firstly, the bare skin was completely recolored to a dark, opaque material, creating the illusion of a full bodysuit. Secondly, and just as significantly, the character bust proportions were noticeably reduced, minimizing their prominence. This aggressive modification forcefully redefined the character's entire physique and coverage, removing any hint of bare skin and altering the original artistic intent for her proportions, proving how far policies go to eliminate perceived visual risks. For slot number 6, we examine a truly bizarre case of censorship, Apollousa, the bow of the goddess. Apparently, exposed armpits are considered a risk just as great as any plunging neckline. In the original OCG artwork, Apollousa's left armpit and the side of her bust were completely uncovered, a common artistic choice for dynamic poses. However, the TCG editorial team decided that this level of exposure was unacceptable. Their solution was to digitally add a new piece of fabric, extending her outfit. This modification now fully conceals the armpit and covers a significant portion of her side and bust. This particular alteration proves that even a natural and common body part, when exposed in a certain pose, can be deemed a visual risk by policy, leading to its complete digital concealment. Our 7th slot, Hexe Trude, brings us back to the policy against plunging necklines. In the original OCG design, the card art featured a very deep V-neck dress, showcasing substantial cleavage and the character's fuller bust proportions. The TCG modification was a straightforward digital edit. The costume was extended upwards, significantly raising the neckline. This new, more conservative design directly covered the cleavage, eliminating the original aesthetic intended by the artist. Notably, the same censorship was applied to this monster's appearance in the anime dub, where the cleavage was also covered. Hexe Trude is a textbook case where the desire to enforce modesty led to the direct alteration of clothing design, minimizing the visual focus on the character's chest. For slot number 8, we move to Amazoness Queen, a case that proves the editorial policy sought to eliminate even the potential illusion of nudity. Curiously, while cards like Amazoness Swordswoman feature significantly more revealing design, the policy chose to focus on the queen. In the original OCG artwork, the character wears a bare midriff armor top. The design showed the skin clearly visible between the armor plates and the upper torso. The TCG modification was specific. They digitally added an undergarment, filling the gap between the armor and the body. This created the visual impression that the character was wearing a full top beneath the battle gear. This change highlights a policy focused on reinforcing conservative visual standards, ensuring no area of the body could be mistakenly seen as exposed. For slot number 9, we examine a classic card, Elemental Hero, Burstinatrix. This foundational hero character shows a policy against both exposed skin and curvaceous bodies. The original OCG artwork had a tight, deep crimson bodysuit with cutouts on the chest, midriff and tights. The design featured a much fuller bust. The TCG modification was quick and complete. The exposed areas were all filled in with red fabric and the sides of her chest was also noticeably reduced. This alteration proves the policy applies equally, making sure even a core female hero is standardized to fit an unrevealing look. For our final spot, we embark on the next step of the editorial crusade against beauty and sensuality, the Harpie Lady sisters. This family of cards represents a systematic effort to sanitize an entire archetype. Across the Harpie Lady variants, the censorship targeted every element deemed visually aggressive or seductive. The most striking and consistent alteration involves their upper body. In the original OCG artwork of Harpie Lady 1 and Harpie Lady 3, the characters wore outfits with extreme cutouts, that emphasized cleavage and bust sides. The TCG policy addressed this aggressively. They digitally extended the garment, filling the cutouts with fabric, thereby removing all exposed cleavage. Furthermore, the bust sides was also noticeably reduced for these variants. This intense campaign proves that the censorship policy will aggressively change and standardize every single version of the art. Well, my friends, that brings us to the end of this list. I truly hope this deep dive showed you the incredible attention to detail we lose when art is adjusted to look a little less tempting. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. It's a loving gesture that really helps the channel grow. Now for the question, which card's curvaceous art do you think was the most tragically changed? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you are looking for something with a bit less controversy and a lot more strategy, remember that we have over 300 deck profiles right here on the channel for you to check out. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next video. A big hug to all of you, my friends, and I'll catch you very soon. My friends, if you'd like to support us even further, you can become a member of our YouTube channel or Patreon. You'll unlock exclusive content like early access to our new videos, ad-free viewing, event decklists, and special shoutouts. Links are in the description down below.